Welcome to the Community Collective Podcast, a flip-flop agent production in collaboration with the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce. I am your host, Johnny B. Good. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Community Collective Podcast. I am your host, Johnny B. Good, and I am joined with my fellow co-host, Mr. Travis Howell. We are coming off the high that is Quarter Mania that we held over at the Davison Country Club this past week. So we wanted to get right into it and bring you another amazing podcast with a beloved community member. So Travis, why don't you take a minute, say hello, and introduce us to who we're talking to today, my friend.
Yeah, well, Johnny, thank you very much. It's always great to talk with you and have guests come on here. And you're right, we're coming off a big event where the community came together, and this is what the chamber is about. This is what the Community Collective Podcast is about: is our community coming together to have a conversation that's everything great about Davison. So, hey, today we have Mayor Tim Bishop from the city of Davison joining us. Tim, welcome.
Hey, appreciate good morning, guys. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. So Travis, before you get started though, I always want to make sure I understand the level of brevity that we like to address our elected officials. So is it Your Highness, Your Majesty? I mean, what's your preferential term of love and endearment that we offer to you?
So that good question, Johnny. Actually, because it's you two guys, and I know you really well, and I really don't take the title to head. You guys can call me Tim today.
Perfect.
Your honor out there in public, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, all kinds of different things used, but I don't. I consider myself a down-to-earth regular guy, so it's Tim. You can call me B-Dog if you want.
Perfect.
It works.
I love it.
So many names for one person.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Travis, you are up, my friend. Tim, thanks for joining us, and we're looking forward to talking with you today.
Appreciate you having me.
Well, good. Well, Tim, the first question we always are really interested in learning about our guests are, what is your background?
So my background is born and lived in Flint for till about third grade-ish. Then parents moved. We went out to Flushing. Spent most of my life there. When I got married is when I actually moved to Davison. So I've been here 26-ish years or so. My background is I got a couple years of community college. After that, I kind of got a good job, and then rolled that in the home improvement industry for a little while. And when that started to tank, I just decided it was time to find something on my own. Started a business downtown. It was going good. Started another business, and that's where I'm at today. As far as a political background, I really didn't know anything about politics until I stepped my foot into the city of Davison's arena. So a little bit of everything, well-rounded, played sports as a kid, like sports now. So stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. Don't worry. I feel like we're kind of similar. Our wives were the smart ones that convinced us to be in Davison.
You're right.
I moved here from a different state, lived in a different city for a little while up here, and then we got married. My wife was like, Davison's the place to be. We got to be there, and now we love it. So it is. That's the great thing about having a good wife. And that's really interesting about your background and kind of how that leads us into our next question. So what got you, once you moved to Davison, what got you interested in being a part of our community and eventually running for mayor or running to be part of city council?
No, appreciate that. Great question, Travis. So here's literally how it went down. I'm working at Wix one day. I picked up the index and just started reading it. And I saw something in there that caught my eye that city council was going to pass. Now, mind you, I didn't even know how many people are on a council. I didn't know where they met. I didn't know anything about it. But what I read was that they were going to allow people to start parking campers on their side lots and on back storage pads. And being a city resident, I was like, I'm not real keen on that. So I said, I'm gonna go down to this meeting. I'm gonna go down to this meeting and see what happens, see what's going on, because I've never been to anything. So I go to this meeting, and I got the index in my hand, and it gets to this part where we're at the beginning of the meeting. It's public comments, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to say something today. I'm going to say something at this meeting just because this is my chance, I guess. So when they called for public comments, I stood up and I said, I'm not in favor of this as a resident. I can't believe you're going to pass this without any more than just something on your meeting agenda tonight. Now, mind you, this is all important part of the story because I get a little embarrassed here in a minute. So I tactfully said, I don't think this is right, whatever. So the mayor at the time, he said, well, thanks for your comments, but, just so you know, we're on the second reading and approval of an ordinance. We had a hearing on it. We had a first reading. We appreciate you coming in, but you're a little bit too late, is what I got. I got from that. Yeah. No, I just, I went home that night and I was like, God, man, that's, oh, well, it is what it is. I got there too late. I wasn't mad or anything. I really, I felt kind of good about going up and speaking my piece. But over the next couple of days, I thought, man, you should become involved. So you're not, looking kind of silly at a meeting like that. And it just happened to be at a time a few months within that when city council petitions were due to run. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to become involved. I kind of look silly down there. I got, kids in the district. I'm going to be here for a while. I figured, why not run for council and see what happens? Now, mind you, I don't know anything about council. I didn't even know if I was going to have to pick Democrat, Republican. I didn't know what was going on, really. I didn't know who ran the meetings. Now, as it turns out, the city of Davidson is nonpartisan, obviously, so I didn't have to, pick my party or whatever. But I went in and I sent out some literature. I put some signs up. I stood there on campaign day, and next thing I know, I'm elected to city council. And it was cool. I went in the next day to the city manager, who I only met once, and I was like, Mr. Auger, what do I do now? And I will never forget, he looked across the table and goes, you coming in not knowing anything, inexperienced is perfect. And what he meant was, I was going to, instead of me taking a side and running with it on council, I was just going to learn what it meant to be a council person. So I was like really green, no side, nothing like that. So it was a good start. And it just kind of snowballed since then. Here we are.
I think that's the amazing thing about local politics or anything like that is someone can get passionate about an issue or a topic, and they have that opportunity to get involved, to have their voice heard so much easier. I think, going to a city council meeting or a township meeting, anything like that, I feel people can just come in and talk and learn. And I think that's a great opportunity for people. I mean, you're an example right there. You had one thing that you're really interested in, and it motivated you to move it a little bit further along and get more involved, which is great.
No, and you're right, Travis. And it happens from time to time. People realize, hey, maybe I should just go down and talk to somebody about this. I'll give you just a quick little example. We had a gentleman come in a couple weeks ago, and he pointed out an area where he thinks there should be a couple more speed limit signs because of the school area. And instead of just coming down and saying, shaking his fist and saying, you need to take care of this, the guy took the time to present a little bit of data. He told me, well, over here, he told the council and the city staff, well, over here you have these signs, this many, and over the street you have this many. So it really just doesn't even make sense why you don't have any here, plus the fact that there's a school. Well, guess what? Now it's on our mind. We're talking about more speed limit signs and stuff. And all it took was a local resident to come down and mention something he saw and wanted fixed. So, yes, community input's huge. We don't get enough as we'd like to see at certain times down there, but that's why I'm out talking to people and wanting to know, because you don't have to just come to a meeting.
Right.
We talk to people all the time about things that should happen and things that we should do. So your voice is heard. You do make a difference, and that's how it rolls out.
Yeah. So that's great. And that shows you that the city can set goals, but want input from everybody and what their
Correct.
community needs or should be looking at, which is great because Tim, this is the next question is, which rolls right into it. What have been some of your goals for the city of Davison as a city council member and then as mayor?
Oh, okay, good question. So I'm gonna take this one back a little bit of stuff I worked on in my early mayor days, and I'm pretty proud of it. So here's one of the items that I wanted to tell you about. Many years ago, 12, 13 years ago, Davison was recycling, and in my mindset, I was literally like, well, I can't recycle. You're giving me a laundry basket and you're counting on me to crush all this stuff. It's just easier to throw it away. That was my mindset. Okay. And I thought about that for a minute. I was like, well, you gotta figure something out. We gotta see what we can do. So I talked to the guy from Republic, our rep from Republic, and I just told him, I said, the problem is that when I've called Republic and told them this before, the answer was always, we'll send you another bin. We'll send you another bin. And so then my immediate thought is, well, I don't want to carry 6 bins out to, they're like a laundry basket.
Right.
I don't want to keep carrying those out every week. I could literally put tons out. So Gary asked me one day, the rep from Republic, he's like, well, let me ask you. He goes, if you literally separated your garbage and your recycling, how much would you have? And I said, well, let's find out. So I went from 5 just regular sized trash cans, put on side of your house or whatever. I took 5 of those. I had 5 at home, and I was filling 4 of them or 5 of them a week. And they were big. They hold like 2, like 13, 14 gallon trash cans. So we're not talking huge trash cans. So I started separating my stuff. And after about a month and a half, I told Gary, I said, Gary, I have 2 bins of trash and I have 3 bins of recycle. And he says, well, it wasn't that hard. His solution was, well, in other communities, we give them a bin for recycling and a bin for their trash, and they're big blue ones. And they're not the most sightly thing, but they do the job. And they also allowed for his drivers to to automatically pick them up with their truck. So we did it as a test run in my quadrant of the city here, and we got feedback from the people, and they were like, this is great. I can't believe this is so easy now. And they were all on board with me. Some of the people were a little concerned with the size of the containers, but then Republic says, well, we have a smaller container for the single person at one home that's not going to wheel out 55 gallons of trash a week. We can do 2 smaller ones or whatever. So, again, it was just something I just kind of like saw, and I really kind of put my effort into changing it, and we did. And we're one of the main recyclers in the county. And we have been even before that program, Gary told me, from Republic. So it just kind of improved their way of doing things. And he said that there definitely was a shift in more recycle through the city. So something I kind of just, pride myself in saying, I kind of stood up and helped him solve a little bit of a concern here. That will, that'll always stick with me when I'm done, that I kind of was at the forefront of that it's improved recycling in the city.
Right. And I feel that that's the value in local public servants is their willingness to focus on something and just make life better for residents, make it easier for residents, and giving them options. That's an amazing thing right there. Just you choose what you like or your size household or whatever, and that's great right there. That's a great example of what the city of Davison's doing for the residents.
Right.
So here, you've already shared some really good ones, but what's an interesting story or like a funny story that has happened while you're a mayor or a local business owner? What's something interesting about your time with the city of Davison?
Okay, so I got all kinds of funny little cute ones or something. Some of the funniest ones, I guess, come from the weddings I perform. People in all kinds of situations, wanting or sometimes needing to get married rather quickly and stuff. So those are always kind of interesting. But I I thought about this really hard. I thought, you know what, the one story I want to tell you about isn't as much funny as it was my absolute favorite council meeting ever, and it will never ever be beat. And that goes back to, God, I don't remember the date. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, and Officer Matt Banks, who had been with the city for a long time, was retiring, and so we were going to bring him down to a meeting to recognize him. Well, the chief had something else planned, and this was unbeknownst to anybody in the room. Um, Chief went on to go tell the story about early in Matt Banks' career. Um, there was an abduction in the city of Davison. It actually happened about 6 months before I moved into the city, about a half block from the city. So I'm like, what? But I didn't know anything about any of this at the time. So anyways, to go back to the story, a young lady was abducted in the city of Davison. And as the legend goes, as the story goes, it's not a legend, it's a true story. As the true story goes, Matt Banks was in the city of Flint, and he had just transported a person they arrested in the city, I guess. He had to go to the county jail. So they take him down to the jail, and on Matt's way back, they get a call on the radio of this abduction, and they have a great description of the car. This had happened like literally minutes before they get the call. So Matt tells you in the story that he's just with his little bit of police work he has, he thought to himself, don't get on the expressway, drive Court Street back. So he gets in his patrol car, he's leaving the jail in Flint, and comes down Court Street. And sure enough, right about, I think as the story goes, right about where Menards is at this time, he sees the car, passes by him right on Court Street. I mean, this is like real close still. Matt turns the car around and pulls the car over. Lo and behold, there's the girl in the back seat. I don't remember exactly what happened or whatever. He arrests the guy. He actually arrests the guy, and the guy, I don't know if he's still in jail or whatever. So as Chief's telling this story in front of council, he goes to present Matt the award, his retirement award, and I think he was getting a pin that day for something, for reward for retiring. And Chief says, you know what, though, we actually have a special guest here to pin this on you. And here comes this young lady and her family down the stairs at a council meeting. And I'll tell you what, man, I just, my eyes are swelling up a little bit thinking about it, to be honest with you, because I remember crying at that meeting. I was like, this is really something special. This guy is literally going to have his retirement certificate given to him by the lady whose life he literally saved. He probably saved her life.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
I will never ever forget that meeting as long as I live. And every time I see Matt Banks, it just crosses my mind about that little piece of instinct in a new officer's mind that said, just take Court Street home. Just take the back street home, because you might get lucky here. And he sure did get lucky that day. So did she. And to see her pin that on him, it just, like I said, right now, I'm probably tearing up a little bit thinking about it. It was the best meeting I've ever been to and probably ever will have.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, stories like that really, I think, make our community personable. You see stuff like that, and it sticks with people. It's a memory, and the stories that just go together, and the relationships that are built in a small community like ours. That's what this is all about. So,
you're exactly right, Travis. And I'll tell you what. Honestly, Matt obviously spent the rest of his career here in the city of Davison. Not a lot of people knew that story. I myself knew about in the back of my mind about that attempted abduction that happened many years ago, because it was
right.
like 4 houses from me. And, I knew it was there in the back of my mind. I didn't really realize it was Matt Banks. He never talked about it. It was never talked about it. It was never, hey, you guys know who Matt Banks is or anything like that. I literally didn't know anything about that story for years until I was told. So he's a very humble officer. He did a great job in this community. And like you said, that's a community story right there.
It is. So, well, good. Well, Tim, one thing we always really enjoy finishing up our conversations with our guests is, in your free time, how do you like to relax? What do you do to kind of zone out and just spend some time with your family, or what do you do?
So, Travis, it varies a little bit. I like to just sit down and catch a little TV and just, unwind that way. I love to travel with my wife. We, getting the 4 kids out into the world a little bit more has freed us up to spend time together and do stuff like that. I'm blessed with one almost 2-year-old granddaughter. Although she lives in Grand Rapids, we, at the drop of a hat, we'll get in our car and go over there and see her. Or she's over here, quite often for babysitting needs. So it's a little bit of everything. I just kind of, to relax, I just like to get away from the city and work.
Man, and it's all about family. I've seen a picture of that granddaughter, and what a cutie she is. And so I'm sure.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I've heard being a grandparent is the best thing in the world, and it seems when I've talked to you or I've seen you and your wife with your granddaughter, you guys are just loving time with her and just, I'm sure, spoiling her as much as you can.
100%. It's the best thing. We love it. You're exactly right, sir.
Well, so one thing that my my son absolutely loves is he loves the Miami Dolphins. And I said, well, don't you know, buddy? I said, you are on the same team that the mayor of Davison is a huge fan of. And he goes, are you serious, Dad? He's like, you don't ever let me watch the Dolphins. Do you think I could go watch the Dolphins with him? And
yes.
I'm a long-suffering Lions fan, so maybe I'll have to send him over and hang out with you for one of these nice Sunday games that are coming up here in the fall.
No, absolutely, Johnny. And tell him to get in some gear and give me a heads up. I'll get in my gear and we'll get a picture together. There's not a lot of us around, so hearing that there's another one so close is great to hear. Fins up.
Oh, he already has the Tyreek Hill jersey. He's watching every game. He's got me doing illegal stuff on a VPN so he can watch it whenever they're playing and they're not being shown locally. So,
man, he's a diehard. Then I love the kid already.
Got another Dolphins fan, buddy. He's ready for you. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time today, man. The Community Collective podcast is just something where we want to be able to talk to our members in the community and just showcase that, we're out here, we're available. We want to talk. We want to listen. We want to be approachable. And I think you did a great job of showcasing that today. And we appreciate the time.
No, Johnny and Travis, I appreciate you guys doing this actually and asking me to be a part of it. It's a great outreach for the community, like you said. Get some people listening and get some good people on and some interest. Man, you guys are doing a great job of this already. So I appreciate what you're doing and thank you very much for having me today.
Hey, Tim, have a great day. Everyone remember to shop local and support local.
Always. Thank you guys. You too. Appreciate it.
Have a great one. Thank you, Tim. Well, that finishes up another fantastic episode of the Community Collective podcast. A huge thank you to both Tim, Mr. Mayor for the City of Davison, and Travis Howell, the Executive Director for the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce, for taking the time to get this recorded today. We're looking forward to the next episode. We are going to be meeting with Megan Morningstar from Ireland's Dream, talking about shamrocks and shenanigans that's going to be happening on St. Paddy's Day over at Sugarbush. So definitely stay tuned. Lots of more great episodes coming. Looking forward to hearing any comments or any suggestions you guys have for future guests. Thank you so much for listening. This is Johnny B. Good with the Community Collective podcast. We'll see you next time.